I'm here to talk to you about how bacteria can help us combat climate change. More specifically, how can we redirect bacterial metabolism to produce sustainable compounds more efficiently? And I want to start with the problem of climate change. So the way that our economy is set up right now, we have a lot of CO2 emissions that will lead to global temperature rises. And these global temperature rises in the next few decades will have very drastic effects on the outcome and the future of the Earth. And so while the outlook is very bleak, I remain optimistic because there are solutions at hand. The one that I'm going to talk to you about today is making a lot of the products that we use in our everyday lives using bacteria. But you might ask, why don't we have these products every day? Why don't we see bacteria like fuels and stuff in our car? And the reason lies in the efficiencies. So if we remember Bruce from Thomas's talk earlier, this is an E. coli cell just like Bruce. It lives in your gut. It can produce a lot of things for us, actually. Fuels, plastics, medicine, there are a lot of them. But the problem isn't what it can or cannot produce, it's how much. They can't produce nearly as much as a factory can, both in terms of the amount as well as the cost effectiveness and in terms of cost efficiency. And so if you ask why can't we get them to do this? The answer lies in a useful analogy of traffic. So a lot of you have probably driven or been driven around in cars and been on toll roads before. What you'll notice is that you're driving pretty fast, things are going well, until you hit a toll where you hit a huge traffic jam. So you can imagine, if you're the toll booth operator, what you could do is, when you sense this traffic coming, if you could open up more lanes or find another way to make cars pass your toll more efficiently, you can improve traffic on the overall road itself and get people more efficiently from point A to point B. Well, metabolism can be thought of in a similar way as well. But not only is it inefficient for bacteria as they eat sugars to process them, if these things get stuck at certain points, just like these tolls, it can also be toxic to them. So then our cells aren't happy, they're very sick, and they're not making the products that we want them to make. And so to combat this, a solution that I propose are things called biosensors. Now biosensors are just like normal sensors, except that they sense something biological. So in this case, inside the bacterial cell. And an ideal biosensor won't only sense this thing, it will also respond to it in a way, just like the toll operator would, that would alleviate this traffic jam. And so if I have a bacteria that's eating sugar A here, and I want it to make product D, if I know that compound C in the middle is toxic, I can design a biosensor, use the little red icon here, that can sense this toxic buildup and basically, like the toll operator, open more toll lanes to basically get rid of this traffic jam and make the cell happy. So then the question becomes, how do we create these biosensors? And so we use proteins to create these biosensors. And proteins are the main functional molecules in biology. Everyone eats protein every day, and they're present in almost every single organism. We're interested in two types of proteins here. One is the protein that senses the traffic jam, and another one is the one that we use to respond. And the response protein affects gene expression, which is how a lot of organisms respond to external stimuluses. What you do is you put these two proteins together in certain combinations, and you arrive at biosensors. But the naive question that comes out of this is, can I just stick these things together in any combination and you'll get something that works? Probably not. So how? How do we know which ones will work and which ones won't? So our lab has developed a technique to basically combine them in many ways. You take the same two proteins and change the shapes just for viewing purposes. We have a way of creating thousands of combinations all in the same test tube at once. And so from here, you might ask, you have thousands of tubes, which ones work and which ones don't? We have a way of basically detecting a certain color change that's associated with a working biosensor, and basically pick the ones from these thousands of combinations that work and move forward to create useful biosensors. And what's exciting is we've demonstrated that this has actually worked before. And so we've created 3 new biosensors in E. coli, the same bacteria in your gut, to detect a simple sugar. And the way that this works, as I'll walk you through briefly, is in a normal case, this responder protein, as I mentioned before, regulates gene expression, has the toll closed. It's bound to the DNA and there's no gene expression happening. What happens is when the traffic jam occurs, when you add a sugar, this toll operator senses that sugar and opens up the toll, the gene expression is turned on, and you have the traffic jam sort of alleviated. And what's more exciting than just detecting a sugar is the possibilities that we're going to apply this to next. We've only hit the tip of the iceberg in terms of what compounds we've made into biosensors. We have a vast array of different proteins that are found in nature. Pretty much anything nature has detected to sense that we can try to convert into into biosensors to help us produce things like fuels, plastics, and medicine shown here on the right, and arrive at that sustainable economy that I showed in the first slide. What's even more exciting to me is that we're not limited to doing this in bacteria. We can sense and respond things in our bodies as well. And so if you can think about sensing and responding to disease, viral infections, things like that, you can think of new ways of treating disease by sensing and responding to it. So in conclusion, what I've shown you today is if you think of cellular metabolism as a sort of traffic jam, and you want to get around this problem by being a toll operator, we can create biosensors, just like toll operators, to regulate the flow of traffic at important times to create things like sustainable fuels and sustainable plastics, as well as treating disease with the exact same technology. Thank you.